Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Talks. This is your captain speaking. So, in today's episode, we are going to be working on the moss farm, which we actually made in the past. And this is just going to be a little progress update, as the flashback mod is not updated right now. But I've been at work, so I just kind of wanted to show you all what I've been doing. So, floating down here, this is the original location of the moss farm, as you can see in these chests. But now I've decided to move it over here in these trees. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I get a little bit more space and I get to build a cool little shop with it. So, go ahead and show you all what I have so far. So with all this wool here, I've got the outline of the farm. And inside, if we walk through the front door, this is what we'll see. So I did all the boring farm stuff off camera. I'll probably throw some video of me digging this hole out. But here, the idea is we'll walk into the shop. The shop is kind of going to be a burned down building in the form of this old building that has been destroyed in St. Louis, called the Page Boulevard Police Station, which I will throw up on the screen now. And to kind of pay homage to this building, I'm going to build it on the server. So it'll kind of be in the style-ish of the Bamboo Palace over there, which will look pretty cool and be abandoned, kind of like this little church over here. So walking in here, we have the moss farm underneath the floor. I did this because if not, the building was going to be massive, and it wouldn't really fit the size of the area. So I decided to bury it and just cover it with glass, and we'll beautify the walls. So this is pretty much what it looks like. Click this lever, turn it on. I'll link the video tutorial in the description. And this is kind of what you'll see. So you can kind of watch the moss farm in action from above. There's going to be an upper floor here, which was where the shop and everything will be. So I think it's going to look pretty cool. And yeah, just wanted to give everyone a quick update of where I am. And gonna get back to it. Gonna go ahead and build the whole farm and the whole building. So yeah, I will see you all in a few. Alright. So we're going to buy some shelves from HL Mines, and I've gotten word that his shop is all stocked, so let's go on and take a look. So, second time in here. First time we were here, there was no stock, but happy to see bookshelves and chiseled bookshelves back in, so really appreciate that. I was giving him a hard time before, but that is not why we're here today. We're here to get the mangrove shelves. So these do drive a pretty high price at 18 diamonds. So let's get our ender chest out, which there is none in this shop. I was going to check my shop for an ender chest, but it turns out I didn't have one either. So yeah, thanks to HL Mines for making those. And I would rate this shop experience definitely a 7 out of 10, only because it had no ender chest, and then I went to my shop and it also had no ender chest. Alright, and kicking it back here with the old style of the replay. Flashback mod wasn't available at the time when I was building this, so just kind of had to record it like this and do what I used to do. So, I'm actually really happy with how this build turned out. I think it's one of my favorite on the server, and I think it fits in really nicely with the whole starter area. And speaking of the starter area, HL Mines has decided to kind of help terraform it and turn it less into a desert, more into a grassy area that makes you want to kind of hang out. So I'm really excited about that, and I do really appreciate his help, and I'm glad that the moss farm is able to kind of provide him with everything he needs for it. So with that, we got the normal flashback mod. I'll leave you to this replay here, so I'll be right back and enjoy. Alright, everybody, and this is the present day, and as you can see, we have finished it. So this is the moss farm. Coming up here, I decided to not actually burn it out like the actual building in real life was. I kind of just restored it to how it was in the original design, and it's very grand looking and pretty cool. So coming up to this, as you can see, we have a side door here, and the front kind of leads you in, and we have the farm in all its glory. So this is still a work in progress in the interior, as I did a lot of it, but this video already took a lot of work, so I'll just do that later. And you can kind of see the experience I wanted from the shop. So you walk in, your eyes kind of lead you down. You see that the farm is running right now because I'm working on getting some moss and bones. And then over here, you have this cool kind of picture wall and a vine up and down. So coming up here, you now have the top of the shop. So this is actually where we will be selling everything. So kind of get a nice little view here. You have this cool moss on the ceiling, and I took this crystal or the stained glass, where this is where the sun rises, so you have these lighter colors, and then the sun sets over here where they turn more orange and red. And I took this idea from La Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, as Gaudi did the same thing there, and I thought that was really cool. So coming in here, we're waiting for these guys to oxidize all the way, so they're taking a long time. But I have everything laid out here that we sell. So in this shop, we're going to be selling the dried gas, which I do not have, bone blocks, which is very important for just everything. It's a great block to use. You can use it to get bone meal, so I think that's really good. I decided I'm going to sell some of these shrubs here for pretty cheap, but just to have it. And then, of course, your moss carpet and the actual moss. So I'm going to be selling both variants of the normal and then the pale moss. So pretty cool. And I'm really happy with how this interior and just build in general kind of came out. So again, I'll be making small changes and tweaks. So next time in a future video when we're in here, it will look different, but I'm definitely super happy with how this turned out. And like I said, I do think it's one of the coolest builds that I've done on the server. Definitely cool use of the new shelf blocks. This build is pretty much like showing off the shelf block because it lets you kind of have a different exterior wall to the interior, which before it would have to be 2 blocks and it would be really big. But the shelf block kind of allows you to do it a lot smaller and decorate like this. So here I put these keystones above the windows, and I think that looks pretty cool. And finally we have the marketing brochure, which it's not done. It's missing a copper golem, and I think I'm going to use the shelf blocks to spell out buy moss, so that HL Mines will buy more moss. So yeah, I think this is super cool. Definitely one of the cooler builds I've ever done. And let's go ahead and get a nice little aerial view of the builds. So there's great views from this side. So this is a key perspective as you walk up. You get the cool little spire with the moss on top. So I'm really loving this view here, and it's kind of just entice you to come in. I think there's going to be a metro stop over here, which will look pretty cool. And yeah, so this is the Moss Shop. If you guys enjoy this build, please do leave a like and consider subscribing, because I definitely get motivated to build more when I have a bigger audience. At least leave a comment, because I would love to build more things like this, because I really enjoy this style of building. So, with that, I will see you all in the next episode. Ciao, ciao.